This is Pete Moore on Halo Talks NYC. I have the pleasure of bringing straight from Jersey, Tony Saxby, Workout, Live Fierce, aka Wolf. Good to meet you, and thanks for coming on the show.
Likewise, brother. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So you've dedicated your entire life to the health and fitness industry. Take us back to the beginning with the one location, and we're going to roll forward and talk about Wolf franchise.
Sure. So I've been in this industry since I was 18 years old. I started working at the local Central Bucks YMCA in Doylestown, where I was from, and I just fell in love with it. It was one of those outfits that they championed you getting better at what you're doing. So like when I was 18, they let me become a personal trainer. They had an in-house certification over a weekend. I took the seminar, I passed, and they let me hit the ground running. So I trained there. I was a trainer there for about 2 full years. I developed a couple of training classes that kept us very busy and realized that I'd kind of met my full potential. At that point in time, I had asked for a raise and I was heavily denied. And so I walked across the street to my high school. I asked to rent a football field from the safety and security offices. And I started a boot camp company for 4 a.m., 5 a.m., and 6 a.m., rain, snow, or shine. We were out there for about 3 years, every single day. During that time, I held other jobs, but my main focus was going into law enforcement. And so after opening my first brick and mortar location, I was granted the opportunity to work with Montgomery County Correctional Department, and I went and did that for a few years. Ultimately, coming back to fitness because it's been those are the only two things I've ever done: law enforcement and fitness. Fast forward to 2018, my wife and I are looking for a rental property in beautiful Brigantine, New Jersey, a little barrier island, and we stumbled across this old school gym that was lacking on care but had all the good bones.
Mm-hmm.
And you miss every shot you don't take. So we asked if it was for sale, and luckily enough, it was. After a few months of negotiating, we were able to come to a price, and we took it over. So we launched in October of 2018, or end of September, and then had a beautiful first year. And then going into our winter, COVID.
Yep. Yep. You and all of us. How big was the location?
So the first location was 8,000 square feet. Our OG location is 8,000 square feet. We weathered the storm just like everybody else. It affected everybody in different ways, but what it did for us was it created an area of opportunity where our competitive landscape was kind of exiting the space because of the uncertainty and for how long and spending what have you. And so September 2nd of 2020, they opened our doors to allow for more business. In October, we opened our second location in Upseekin, New Jersey, which is now a franchise location. And then 6 months later in May, we opened our big boy Northfield, which is 25,000 square feet and is also a franchise location now.
So as you take a look at what the template or the prototype looks like, what are you positioning it for with new entrants into the franchise?
Yeah, I mean, 5 years ago, if you would have asked me if I ever would have bought a franchise, I would have said no. But as we scaled from 1 to 3 locations very quickly, uh, and my ADD was kind of running rampant, it was, what do we do? Do we spend more money, or do we try to find a way to develop a brand and scale this system with a mix of our own sources and OPM? So I took about a year of reading every packet I could get my hands on in franchising. And without naming names, the takeaway was most of these opportunities, one, they're hyper unaffordable for the regular person. You need like an investment group. Two, they're not really a gym. Their job is marketing. Their job is reselling you equipment every 3 to 5 years at full market while they're getting it for a lot less. And that was something that we would never sign, my wife and I. And so when we were developing our packet, it was originally to find 100 cool people to open 100 really cool gyms across this nation with, that kind of resonated with our 4 pillars, which are honor, integrity, community, and commitment. And those are things I've carried with me from Boy Scouts into our locker rooms, the DOC, into our combatives training program facility, and through all of our gyms. It's kind of who we've built ourselves to be. And so we're not really selling a gym. We're selling an opportunity to build a community. Anybody can open a gym. It's 4 walls, equipment, and lights. It's how do you create a recurring revenue stream that you actually care about? It's by leaning into the area of opportunity, finding what void is in that commitment, in that area of commitment, and finding how we can make it a better opportunity for the end user. Um, so I guess to answer your question, we build communities before we build gyms. The gym just supports the community.
Gotcha. And then as you take a look at finding 100 cool people, You obviously
We're well
get,
past that now, but yeah.
yeah, we obviously, in franchising, a lot of times you have to say no.
Yeah.
So how has that experience been for you? And how have you been able to kind of dissect into like, hey, this is an A player.
Well, you hit it on the head. I mean, we learned early, um, and it was through my own fail point, actually, to be honest. We learned early that saying yes to everybody is not the right opportunity just to grow a business. It's okay to say no. We turn down people on a daily basis now, but in our infancy, to get to a scale rate, we said yes to a lot of people, and it resulted in 2 to 3 units of failed state in the franchise that we had to take back. And while that's like the last thing we want to do, it's always for protection of the system. So we took those back and we gave them to operators who actually were, not going against the grain and wanted to be a part of this system. Um, but now, I've got a beautiful team now. Back then, it was just me, my wife, and Jason, who's my president of the company. Now we've got a full sales team. We've got, they've got setters. We've got a full CRM. There's an application that they have to get to before they even get to me. Um, and so that was just systems. The system had to become stronger. We learned don't say yes to everybody. It's okay to say no, and find the right people in there to do your vetting.
So you take a look at the success of Planet Fitness, the current private equity that's rolling into the Crunch system right now.
Hmm.
What a member that's looking to join Wolf versus Planet versus Crunch, how do you guys market that differently?
Uh, you know, our we're not a we're not an affordable gym by means of what the two groups that you just named. We're very cost separate from them because of what we give activation wise. We're not we don't want 10,000 members in a gym. We really don't. We want under 3,000, to be honest, because we know wear and tear, usage breakage, all that stuff comes into play. Those are costs that franchisees have to bear for replacing of those things. But also as a gym goer, as somebody who's spent my entire life in gyms, and my wife as well, the biggest bane of your workout is having to wait for equipment. And so we're not the pack of in mentality. We're like, let's get to a scale rate and let's go open a sister location to support all of the extra people that want to be in here and give them the opportunity to train between 2 or 3 different training environments, because we don't ever build the same gym twice in your area. Um, and so that's one differentiation. Two is, our base level amenities we give for free. It's red light sauna, it's cold plunge, it's, we have red light therapy and tanning in some locations. We're rolling out our medical peptide opportunity this month across system, which will also include hyperbaric chambers. And those are things that come to the members as almost a gift for their wellness and vitality, just so they can be a part of our system. We don't charge for those.
Hmm, gotcha. So what's the different price points, and is everyone complying with the no matter where they are in the country?
Yeah, so we have our price point's not set. Our price, because real estate there's varying different degrees of real estate across the country, where some rents are 65,000, some rents are 8,000. So to be fair to the end user, which is the member, and to the franchisee, so they're not trying to sell $10 memberships left and right to anybody who will say yes. Where our market entry price, our floor is $59.99, which includes all the amenities, and just depending on the area of competition, depending on the development schedule and what real estate actually costs, it can go up to 129, which still would not supersede the market. We're not here to overcharge the next person, but we're here to make sure that we can market assimilate and just do a better opportunity for you.
Gotcha. Well, that's music to my ears. I don't like people racing to the bottom on price.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
It's not.
So give us the derivation of this of the acronym.
Yeah, so WOLF stands for Workout Live Fierce. I can take zero credit for it. I give it to my wife. When we were in the midst of buying Brigantine, we knew that we wanted the company to be called Wolf because we were already searching for gyms in Pennsylvania to purchase and flip. Because that's what I had been doing for about 15 years prior,
Hmm.
is buying gyms, scaling them, and then flipping them over. And so we're driving home from dinner one night, and she kind of just like blurts, "Workout Live Fierce." And I'm like, "Wait, what? Say it again." Because she just blurted it out. It was like a random thought that she captured and said it. And she said, "Workout Live Fierce, that's Wolf." And it just never, ever, ever, it always stuck. It was perfect. I mean, she even did the legwork to make sure that we got our logo reinforced and we got permissions from it. We
Nice.
wanted something that could one day be our Nike swoosh, very identifiable, doesn't need words to it. And I think, she did a fabulous job. But that's
Mhm.
where Wolf comes from. We knew that we
Awesome.
wanted to be a pack mentality. We wanted to have community engaged in it, and an alpha animal that wasn't just a derivative of scary. It was something that could have compassion, integrity, honor, and could lead. And so, I'm sure there were like gorillas on our vision board at one point in time, because I used to be 400 pounds. Um, there was a bunch of stuff, but Wolf was always the winner.
Yeah, I think there was a gorilla gyms that Bally owned in Chicago a long time ago.
Bally Fitness.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That went by the wayside,
I worked
thankfully.
at a Bally's back in the day as a personal trainer in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania,
So you
as one
learned
of their master
everything not to
trainers.
do after that.
Yeah, yeah. It's a really good way to put it, because a lot of people learn through osmosis, and they just kind of carry forward and just do whatever they're shown. Um, I'm not a good employee. I was a great law enforcement officer because I cared about the people, but I had a problem taking direction when I thought it was wrong, or like lesser than the right way to go. And so building it ourselves is always best. We can enforce it the way we need to, but we know that we've taken out all of the oopsies and all of the ignorance tax along the way of doing this for almost 23 years now.
Hmm. Awesome. So when you open up a new franchise and you're building this community, give us a little bit of what that grassroots kind of marketing or pre-sale looks like. That
Of
maybe
course.
atypical.
I mean, as far as pre-sale goes, we use in-house. We have our own content, and we have our own content team and the media team that really helps spin the franchisees up for their success, because they're working in an empty location with nothing to really show for it.
Hmm.
And so we've got buckets of content from all of our locations, and we kind of just make really nice and very genuine hype reels to kind of start seeding the areas. And then we really work with our third party company to do all of our AI campaigns, to do all of our click to pay, our self closes, our $1 activations. We use that. But when it comes to grassrooting a community, these franchisees are people that, Tony Saxby, Trisha Saxby, Kale Owen, Dave Batista. Well, we're going to be there for activations and for events. We're not going to be the people that they meet with on a daily basis. And so we really champion them getting out and in front of the community before they even open, going to the local coffee shop saying, hey, listen, I don't want you guys to give us a discount. We don't want any money, but here's 100 hats and 100 t-shirts. Anybody who comes here that says they're from Wolf, do we want you to, we're going to say, hey, come to Sally Joe's coffee shop today and get free stuff. That's it. They buy a coffee. They show you that they're part of our Wolf system. Give them a shirt, give them a hat. What that's doing is it's allowing for a B2B activation without us being in business, so that when we do open our doors, I can ask Sally's coffee shop, hey, bring your cart over for our grand open. I want you to have a booth and be a part of our space because you are in our community. Now you do that with 15 other people in your space. You've got a beautiful business predicated around everybody else's success in business. And all that we're asking for is the opportunity for you to work out. I don't charge for tables. We don't charge for marketing. We really want to make sure that if you're in our community, we're a small business that's owned. Yes, we're a corporation. We're owned by a company and by a board like ourselves. We formed it. But for that location, it's owned by Crystal. It's owned by Ed. It's owned by Mike. It's whoever that is. They're going to be the people that you meet with and work with on a daily and weekly basis. They're your community, and they champion that every day.
Hmm.
We do open houses almost once a month at every location, where it's free for the entire community to come, bring a friend, work out, train, whatever. There's no upsell. There's no hard sell. Just come and train. That's what the space is for. Over time, that leads into contracts or auto pays, where somebody buys a week pass, great. But that's not really the reason why we do it.
Hmm. Are you surprised the lack of grassroots marketing that other companies do compared to just old school building relationships?
Yeah. I mean, I used to wrap moving trucks I'd rent from U-Haul and park them in shopping centers for 47 hours, and then on the 48th hour, move them.
Right.
That's a free billboard for anybody listening. $28 a day gets you a U-Haul truck. Just go wrap it,
Yep.
park it, you're good to go. But yeah, I think they got away from it because it's personnel, it's time, it's energy and acumen that most corporations won't spend, because they didn't build the company for that reason. They built it for a financial windfall. They didn't build it to activate on a lower level. They don't care about the metrics of the 50 or 100 people that you might activate on from being grassroots, where we do, because those 50 or 100 people live in your backyard, and they're going to bring, we see it time and time again, while they might not bring every single person they know, they're going to say, hey, Ed and Crystal were awesome, or Justin down in Palm Bay was great. And while I didn't join, I'm going to send 5 people there. I appreciate you giving me a booth for the day, whatever that looks like. But it doesn't. It shouldn't detract from the. It shouldn't detract from the activation. Still, it's still super important to be grassroots.
Yep.
We're corporate for the sake of not being corporate. That's really what it is. We don't like what the other guys do, so we're doing it our way.
Yeah, I like it. So, have there been instances where there's a franchisee, they say, hey, I could buy it, a club, retrofit it into a Wolf, or do you prefer
Yeah.
they start with a.
No, I mean, three of my personal locations that I own were legacy locations that were in failed state, or the people were just tired and wanted to retire, and so we bought them, flipped them. It's actually a more economical entry point for people
Yep.
than starting one from scratch because there's perceived cash flow, even if it's low. There's a marketing bucket through the CRM that we can reactivate on. Pardon me. The demographics are probably already verified before they open, so we just make sure that it's really an economical opportunity. But I love flipping gyms. That's how I started.
Yeah. So, had you, what's the relationship with Kale Owen? Because he's been on the podcast.
Sure.
We like what he's been doing with
No,
Gym
100%.
Launch and his background.
So when I met Kale, I flew down to well, actually, I met him first at his GymCon event in Orlando in 2024. It was an awesome event. It was just filled with probably it was over 1,000 people in the audience, just eating it all up and listening. And the information, that was my first time in an event with other gym owners and like another gym environment. And the information was sound. I mean, it was real. It's stuff that at that point in time, I was in this for 21 years. And what they were saying, I could look around and comfortably say it was intelligent. It made sense. And it was the right guidance for anybody in that audience. And so I had the opportunity to fly down to Tampa a few weeks later after that event and meet with him one-on-one. And he kind of just grilled me for like an hour about Wolf. He wanted to crap all over the packet because he hated franchises, but like he truly, like I did, he hated franchises before.
Mm-hmm.
And long story short was we connected. It was him and his wife were at a point in their life where they were also looking to start another location up because they were former gym owners, and we kind of just meshed very well. And so the opportunity to have him come on board as our chief revenue officer was available to us, and I jumped at it. And since then, I said before the group was built, it was me, myself, Jason, and my wife. We were not organized on the level that he came in and created organization on. Our funnels were a mess. Our CRM wasn't being nurtured the right way. Our scripting was off, and he actually cares. Past the point of fixing the things that were wrong, he actually, at his core, cares about what we do, and he cares about his St. Augustine community, and he cares about every other Wolf community that we open.
That's great. Yeah, we got a lot of
Yeah.
respect for him. So, congrats
Yeah,
on
very
getting him
lucky. Yeah,
as part of the team.
thank you so much.
So when you built the tech stack on this, obviously, he's got an interesting background with Gym Launch and the marketing side. What software did you select to run the system off of?
So we use Go High Level for our CRM, and we
Okay.
API'd in some Jotform integrations for applications, waivers, etc. Uh, but I mean, ultimately, that's somebody else's platform. So sooner or later, we're just going to build our own, make it all in house, and just fix the things that we don't like with some of the other offerings out there. But we use Go High Level. We use Jotform for some integrations. We use ROR, which is a third-party AI marketing company, to
Yep,
do
sure.
most of our pre-sale encapsulation.
And who do you use for the billing?
Currently, we're using Gymdesk.
Okay, gotcha.
They work with UFC Gym. They work with a couple of other franchise locations. Their customer service was probably, I've been doing this, like I said, for 23 years now, and I worked with Zen Planner, MindBody, Gym Launch. I've worked with across the board. I probably had about 15 other payment processors in house over the time, and I can say, while no system's perfect at all, there's always something that's lacking or that we want more of. Blah blah blah. Their customer service is second to none. So I give them a huge shout out.
So in closing here, maybe something that happened that with a franchisee or with a member that you're like, wow, I'm glad I started this because of something that happened or a life experience.
Uh, I honestly think every day we have one of those situations or opportunities. When I go after this, I'll go to our Brigantine location and train with my wife, and we'll be met with I don't know, probably 20 people over 65 and 40 people under. and they'll just keep saying thank you. And every week, this past week, we decided to tear down our studio, create 3,000 more square feet of gym floor. And
Nice.
while at first everybody's allergic to change, they're like, oh no, it's just a mess in here. What are you doing? As they see the 2 or 3 days of us finishing the project come through, they're like, holy crap, we're getting more equipment, a better floor plan, way more natural lighting. This is awesome. Thank you, Tony. Like we get a lot of those. And then during COVID, we lost a lot of our elderly members. And one of the things that I always remember is one of our clients would reach out to us on a daily basis during lockdown and saying, hey, don't close, don't sell. If you need anything, you come to me first. Like, that gym has been there for 35 years. You guys are a part of this community, and we'll make sure that nothing happens to you. Thankfully, we didn't have to make
Nice.
that phone call, but we had those probably from a dozen or more of our seasonal members, and then a ton more of our year-round members, which is kind of beautiful. Like, this means something to these people, just as it means to us. It's not just a gym to go to.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're building some real community, and that goes deep. So, congrats. Some people would say, is there any white space left in the health club and gym market? I think you've obviously just proven that there is. And you help people get results.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for coming on.
This is Pete Moore on Halo Talks, your captain speaking. I am the founder and managing partner at Integrity Square. We've been around now for 15 and one half years. We have been helping people like yourselves get capital, do mergers and acquisitions, consulting, strategic advice in the health, active lifestyle, and outdoor Halo sector, trying to help as many entrepreneurs as possible get to the next level, take that inflection point, and be the force behind your growth. We are helping companies that have at least $3 million of EBITDA, around $10 million of revenue, and we are positioned to help you get institutional growth capital or to negotiate deals with strategic partners. If you go to integritysq.com/ISQ, you can see our capabilities deck. Happy to set up a consultation at any time. That is free of charge, and we look forward to helping solve obesity, loneliness, and diabetes. Go Halo.